So Princeton University that so many people want to go to, okay? Their HR department is now wanting to remove the word man from its vocabulary, okay? They want to remove the word man. No, I'm not joking with you. I'll read you the article if you don't believe me here. The relatively new policy in effect at the Ivy League institution spells out the directive in a 4-page memo that aims to make the department more gender inclusive. Instead of saying man, employees are told to use words such as human beings, individuals, or people. Other guidelines, instead of man and wife, use spouses or partners. Switch out man-made with artificial, handmade, or manufactured. Don't use the verb to man as in to work something. Instead, use to operate or to staff. Throw out workmanlike and replace it with skillful. This is ridiculous. The memo goes on in a list of variety of occupations that typically include the word man in them and offers replacements such as business person instead of businessman, firefighter instead of fireman, ancestors instead of forefathers, and so on. Consistent with style guidelines issued by Princeton's Office of Human Resources and Office of Communications, and as endorsed by the Institutional Equity Planning Group as a preferred university practice, HR has developed these gender-inclusive style guidelines to be utilized by all HR staff members in HR communications, policies, job descriptions, and job postings, the memo states. In a statement to the College Fix, John Kramer, Princeton's Director of Media Relations, said the guidelines reflect the university's initiative of fostering an inclusive environment. Good for them. While Princeton's language policy for its officers of communications and human resources, Princeton's LGBT Center also offers a guide on various gender pronouns for those who identify as transgender, genderqueer, and other gender variant, suggesting Z, Zi, and her, they and theirs, and em, ear, and himself. I sound like I don't know how to read. These are the pronouns that they want you to use. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is what they have listed here. Okay, I sound like I'm stumbling over my words. Many universities have also encouraged the campus community as a whole to use gender-neutral or gender-inclusive language. Last year, the University of Tennessee's Office for Diversity and Inclusion suggested students use the pronouns ze, they, her, hers, and zers, along with others. For those who don't identify with a particular biological sex, normal, what God gave you, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's Writing Center developed an exhaustive list of words that contain potentially biased or offensive implications, such as businessman, policeman, and even freshman, so that students might avoid using them in their writing. Such offensive words. I'm offended just reading it right now. Such policies regarding gender language have concerned free speech advocates. Marquette University's Writing Center wrote a policy similar to UNC Chapel Hill's, and it implies that those who do not abide by it may face consequences. Ooh, consequences. I wonder what they're going to be. When you are writing about people in general, many of your professors will expect you to use inclusive or non-sexist language, that is, gender-neutral language. Marquette's website states, adding that many people find non-neutered language not only inaccurate, but offensive. That's right. Everything's offensive now. Remember that. Everything's offensive. Concerns about whether or not students would see their grades suffer for not following its guide in classwork and common speech caused Tennessee's Office of Diversity and Inclusion to issue the following statement. We recognize that most people prefer to use the pronouns he and she. We do not dictate speech. We do strive to be a diverse and inclusive campus and to ensure that everyone feels welcome, accepted, and respected. Kramer clarified Princeton's policy in a similar way, saying, "These are guidelines issued by HR, developed in cooperation with Institutional Equity Planning Group for Communication and Job Postings. Students are not mandated to follow this policy." Okay, so last year when the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage, I said it then, I said it's just the start. It's just the beginning. They're going to try to incorporate more and more and more. Words like him and her are now considered to be offensive. Okay? Anybody with a normal brain, anybody with common sense, anybody who's a Christian can see how ridiculous this is. Why are we seeing this? Well, because we are living in the last days. We are living in the days getting closer to the return of Jesus Christ. And because of that, we are seeing moral decay, immorality on the rise, more of an anti-Christ spirit that's sweeping across the land. And if you don't, and if you're not a Christian, if you're not saved, if you don't know the Lord, you're going to fall right into this and just say, well, yeah, I mean, that sounds like a good thing, But it's not. It goes against everything that the Word of God stands for. So I'm just bringing you guys the news, what's going on. I try to bring you guys what's going on. Tie it all into the end times, the times we're living in, and we have a choice. We could either be a victim of it, or we can, we can rise against it. There will come a time where, it's going to get to a point where, not only if you don't follow these guidelines, but you will be jailed for it. You will be, all other kinds of punishments and stuff like that will come out of it. So, but we're seeing this. These are the early signs. The door has been open now. So now that the door is open, that's all it took. The door has been kicked wide open for immorality to sweep into America and all over the world. So be in prayer about it. Stay strong. Know that the Lord is coming soon. And when he does, I can promise you this, the world that you see now will be nothing like the world that you'll see when Jesus gets here. So something to look forward to.